State of Victoria. Melbourne is a gateway to the Great Ocean Road and some of the most scenic coastline in the entire world. From Victoria, Australia, it's a second stop on the ASP World Tour, the Bells Beach Surfing Classic. This contest began in 1962 and is the oldest international surfing tournament in the world. Today's 30th annual Bells Beach Classic has posted $150,000 in prize money. It's round number 2 of the Australian Grand Slam of Surfing here on ESPN. Welcome to ESPN's exclusive coverage of the Association of Surfing Professionals 21 event, $2.2 million World Tour. Today, we're in Australia, the beautiful state of Victoria, overlooking the Southern Ocean at Bells Beach. For round number 2, the Bells Beach Surfing Classic, $150,000 in prize money. David Stanfield with two-time World Cup surfing champion and founder of the ASP, Ian Cairns. And Ian, tell us about Bells Beach. It is a classic break, and the contest has been around for quite a long time.
Well, 30 years, in fact, David. It's the longest-running international contest in the world. Bells Beach is a natural amphitheatre, big cliffs right the way around the beach. The surf is fantastic. It's one of the places that most people love to come to.
And let's talk about the surfing itself. It's called a right point wave, but actually there's several different points out there and several different waves you can ride.
Well, that's true. Low tide, the surfers go out into the middle of the bay to the bowl, and at high tide, they're right up next to the point at Little Rincon, and the waves there are zipper fast. They run down the rocks, and there's excellent scoring potential.
Scoring potential on the ASP, would you explain that now?
Well, scoring potential basically means largest wave, longest distance, best maneuvers, closest to the curl, that's the breaking part of the wave. So if a guy gets a good-sized wave way outside, rides it all the way to the beach, does lots of maneuvers, maybe even gets a tube ride, he's going to score maybe up to a maximum of 30 points.
Ian, we've seen some great surfing all weekend long here at Bells Beach, but let's take a look back at quarterfinal highlights. Quarterfinal number 1, two talented Australians, both from New South Wales. Rob Bain against Tom Carroll. 29-year-old Tom Carroll, the former two-time world champion, won the Bells event in '86. Spectacular cutbacks and precise bottom turns are just a few of Carroll's many talents. But the size of waves Tom was forced to select resulted in scores that were lower than normal. Rob Bain, 28 years old, begins his 7th year as a touring pro. During last year's title chase, Rob was the only surfer to take over the tour lead from Tom Curran. The talented goofy footer finished 5th overall in the ASP rankings with one big win, the Coca-Cola Surf Classic. Ian Cairns spoke with Rob after this quarterfinal victory.
Fortunately for me, Tom got a little bit caught out of rhythm and took a couple of small waves. It sorted me out, and I did quite well in the end.
Bainey eliminates Carroll by less than 2 points and transfers into semifinal number 1. Quarterfinal number 2, Derek Ho met Barton Lynch. Hawaii's dynamic Derek Ho joined the ASP Tour here at Bells and blitzed through his earlier heats. In this quarterfinal, he eclipsed the 80-point mark, but lost the match by a heartbreaking 0.2 of a point. The number 1 seed for this event was given to Barton Lynch. The former world champion had a phenomenal stretch run to finish 3rd overall in 1990. This heat win against Derek Ho was a big shot in the arm for Barton, who would dearly love to make it into the finals.
Yeah, stoked about that. I've made the semis, I think, three or four times here at Bells before, but I've never got past it, so I just want to make the final.
So in quarterfinal number 2, Barton Lynch wins a thriller over Derek Ho and advanced into semifinal number 1 to meet longtime hometown adversary Rob Bain. Quarterfinal number 3 featured Matt Hoy and Simon Law, both from Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. One of the most daring big wave riders on the tour is Simon Law. He had hoped for large surf for the final rounds of the main event, yet despite the average size, the Law put together the 3rd highest score of the quarters. But the 2nd highest score was posted by 2nd-year pro Matt Hoy. This 21-year-old is one of the most impressive young surfers on the tour. Hoy breaks the Law by 0.6 of a point.
Yeah, I'm really happy. It's a hard heat, that one really close, but I just got through it.
Matt Hoy into semifinal number 2. Quarterfinal number 4, a very unusual heat between Damian Hardman and Richie Collins. Other than Tom Curran, Richie Collins is the only Californian to make the top 8 in the ASP 2 years running. Collins is known for his explosive style and his intense approach to professional surfing. It's not every day you have the opportunity to see two world-class surfers on the same wave. Richie Collins, closest to the curl, did not realize that Rob Bain was on this wave until it was too late. And if you look closely, you'll see a confused look on Damien Hardman's face, while a determined Richie Collins relentlessly carves it up. Collins is assessed the severe priority interference penalty, and the end result, Richie Collins with 3 point-scoring waves, while Damien Hardman had the usual 4. Damien Hardman, the former world champion of 1987, the former Bells Beach champion of 1988, went on to post the highest score of the quarterfinals with 87 points and spoke with Ian Cairns after the heat.
No, it was one of the most basic mistakes. You know, Richie should have known better. I don't even know what he was thinking, you know. As soon as he saw me keep paddling, he should have had half an idea that I had priority, so
yes, it's raining.
I think he just had a mental lapse out there. After Richie got the interference, I knew I only had to catch 4 waves, and I didn't have to do anything, you know, outrageous, so I just sort of rode a couple and did the job, you know. It sort of takes the shine off a heat when someone does that.
Damien Hardman advances over Richie Collins by a score of 87 to 64. Semi-final matchups, all Australians, Bain versus Lynch, and the lone regular stance surfer Matt Hoy meets Damien Hardman. Melbourne is the sporting capital of Australia. The cricket grounds are just one of many first-class sporting facilities. Exciting Aussie rules football is played during the winter months, attracting as many as 120,000 people. And with all this water, spectacular sailing abounds, while the famed Phillips Island Grand Prix track is for those who think fast. Melbourne, a remarkable city where sport is king. We'll be right back with semi-final action. Wombat. Or try and coax a koala out of a tree, or just watch a kangaroo hop by. But make sure to keep your hands away from the Tasmanian Devils. Welcome back to the Bells Beach Classic. We are just outside the surfing community of Torquay in the beautiful state of Victoria, Australia. Semi-final highlights first up, the number 5 ranked surfer in the world in 1990, Rob Bain, against number 3, Barton Lynch. Coming into this event, Rob Bain was tied for 3rd overall in the ASP, based solely on his semi-final finish at the Manly Clean Water Classic, which was event number 1.
Robbie Bain was looking pretty good. Good turns, good arc, nice manoeuvres, nice re-entries, but he wasn't looking really alive. And the waves at Bells are pretty hard to ride on the inside section at Little Rincon, with very flat sections, and Bainey was just having a little bit of trouble getting it all together.
The current ASP ranking of 9th place is Barton Lynch's disappointing 3rd round finish at the main event in the Manly Clean Water Classic. Here at Bells, though, he surfed considerably better.
Well, Barton was looking very, very snappy. Fast off the top, good floater moves, and very, very fast through all the manoeuvres, and winding it up and keeping the speed going through the flat sections at Bells. This is where Barton really excels, is being able to snap it off the top and generate speed, even though the wave is very flat and mushy. Robbie Bain, on the other hand, was surfing well, but not able to keep as much snap and flow. Barton, on the other hand, was really lifting it very, very high off the top of the wave and was able to keep the speed flowing much better through the inside flat sections and able to really carve it around and keep the manoeuvres coming.
The number 1 seed, Barton Lynch, moves into the finals by defeating Rob Bain. In men's semifinal number 2, seeded trialist Matt Hoy went man-on-man against the number 3 seed, Damien Hardman. In round number 2 of the main event here at Bells, Matt Hoy upset title contender Gary Elkerton. The 21-year-old pushed Damien Hardman hard in semifinal number 2.
Matt Hoy was looking extremely hot, very fast, snappy moves, able to pump up the speed down the line really fantastically fast and pull off the big radical floater moves all the way down the line. Radical surfing from Matt Hoy.
Damien Hardman had defeated 3 regular footers in a row prior to this semi, Hans Hedeman, Martin Potter, and Richie Collins, and his next victim would be Matt Hoy.
Matt Hoy was surfing exceptionally well, and Damien Hardman had a really tough battle on his hands in the semi-final. Damien really knew that he had to pull out all the stops, and the big manoeuvres like that off the outside and another one following up, and that's one of the real advantages for a backhand surfer at Bells Beach, is the ability to do more and more top turns. When you see Matt Hoy, on the other hand, coming screaming down the line, he started to look a little bit soft at the end of the heat. He was not really generating the speed. You can see the flat sections there, plus chop. And although Matt Hoy is doing some good manoeuvres, a hard splash off the face, he wasn't able to do as many meaningful top turns, and that was the difference for Damien Hardman. Off the top, and then he pulls it into a big cutback, and it's those big manoeuvres where he's showing the board right at the very top of the wave that made the difference for Damien Hardman.
Yeah, it was one of those heats, you know, I never gave up. I was pretty much losing the whole heat, and I just knew I needed a couple of good ones, and I had trouble finding them, but got a couple in the end.
Semifinal number 2, Damien Hardman, 82.4 points. Matt Hoy, 79.5. So in the finals goes Barton Lynch and Damien Hardman. And in the blue singlet, we can see Damien Hardman set his watch at the water's edge. Damien Hardman, 25 years old, ranked number 4 in the world after last year, the 1990 rankings out of Narrabeen, Australia.
Damien is a very, very smooth, fluid surfer with an exceptional off-the-top move. And that's what got him through that semi-final against Matt Hoy.
We have 2 goofy footers, meaning they stand on their board, their right foot is forward. Bart Lynch is wearing the red jersey. He's 27 years old, ranked number 3 after the 1990 ratings out of Manly, Australia.
Barton Lynch and Damien Hardman are both very similar surfers with big off-the-top moves. Whoever does it best will win.
Ian Cairns, you predicted that Barton Lynch would win the World Championship back in 1988. Any predictions today?
Well, both surfers are so evenly matched. Both goofy footers out here at Bells Beach, both able to do multiple manoeuvres along the long wave at Rincon. Very, very closely matched, but I do favour Damien Hardman. He's looking a little stronger in his manoeuvres than what he has done in years, and I think he's looking good.
The incentive here, $25,000 in prize money for first place, and the winner here, no doubt, will move to the top of the ASP World Tour leaderboard. Here are the finals of the Bells Beach Surfing Classic.
The conditions looking very tough out there. Wind on shore, waves choppy, the tide's going out, so it's even mushier than normal. And Barton Lynch out riding, going off the top. He's going to have to very good bottom turn, generating a lot of speed off his fins, and that enables him to jump the board across into the next section and link up another manoeuvre. It's a tough surf out there. You can see how Barton caught an edge on that cutback. The wave is very flat and mushy, not feeding much power towards him. Therefore, Barton has to generate the speed and power using his own legs.
Barton Lynch all the way to the inside, and scores coming up immediately. 20.5 points, and out of a possible 30, that's a good score.
Well, that's almost 7s across the board, so that is an excellent score, Dave.
The crowd watching the oldest international surfing tournament in the sport, the Australia's, in fact, oldest professional tournament, and here's a former world champion, Damien Hardman, from out the back.
Very long rides out here at Little Rincon. The waves very flat and mushy, but Damien surfs in a small beach break and is able to generate power in small waves like this. Again, exactly the same situation with Barton. He has to lift the board and generate his own speed through using leg strength and pumping the board, putting power on, power off, just really moving the board a lot. And that's one key manoeuvre, is when the wave closes out on the inside, a good clean re-entry for a clean finish.
Damien Hardman's first wave score, 21.5 points. The men's main event final of the AAA rated Bells Beach Surfing Classic continues right after this short break. Sydney. Then a scenic hour's drive outside of Melbourne is the Bells Beach Surfing Reserve. David Stanfield with Ian Cairns as the finals are underway between Damien Hardman and this man Barton Lynch here on his second scoring wave.
Really tough surf out here now with the wind on shore, the tide going out, the wave very flat. But Barton Lynch able to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear simply by doing big major manoeuvres. He's able to generate his own speed off the flat bottom of the wave, and then when he does get a good section, carves a snappy re-entry off the top, pumps up the speed, and turns really a sad wave into a good score.
Barton Lynch all the way to the inside. As we get a look, cameras on the cliffs looking down at Barton Lynch. He paddles back out. A good crowd on hand. Past champions of this event include America's Tom Curran, Jeff Hackman, Lisa Anderson, but an all-Australian final going on right now. And let's take a look at Barton Lynch's total score, 37 points after 2 waves.
Yeah, quite good surfing, or actually very good surfing for Barton Lynch on this smaller wave. And that's the sort of wave that he's going to need to get on a consistent basis to do well. And outside, taking off is Damien Hardman. 1-2 really fantastic carves off the white water. Very top manoeuvres for this kind of surf. Now Damien is looking for a long ride just to finish this wave off very neatly and smoothly and cleanly. He's going to ride the wave all the way in, making sure there's no mistakes. He already has the big manoeuvres done on the outside, and now bring it right into the shore break and a clean finishing off re-entry. Very, very neat and tidy wave for Damien Hardman, backing up those big manoeuvres on the outside.
Well, Australians have dominated this event, and Mark Richards has won the bells 4 times. Damien Hardman won the bells in 1988, and after 2 scoring waves, he takes over the lead over Bart Lynch, a total of 41 points.
Excellent manoeuvres on the outside, taking the lead. That's the kind of surfing that Damien needs to do if he wants to win this contest.
Here's Bart Lynch for his 3rd wave.
You can see how the surfer needs to set himself up on the takeoff point. He looks to the left and the right. That tells him what's happening down the line of the wave. There's a lot of observation that goes on in selecting where to do your manoeuvres, particularly in flat surf like this. You don't want to get caught too far behind the section. And if any of this whitewater lobs right in front of you, it makes it a very, very difficult ride. See, Barton loses his balance a little bit there, but he's able to pick up the pace again. Great manoeuvre off the top. Barton is surfing very, very well. This is going to be a high-scoring wave, and good finishing manoeuvres there on that last wave.
And for Bart Lynch, his 3rd wave, 20.8 points. Last 2 winners here at Bells Beach, Martin Potter and Tom Curran, have went on to win the World Championship title. Here's Damien Hardman. He'd love to win his 2nd world title.
Well, this is the kind of surfing he's going to need to do that. Good opening re-entry. Nice manoeuvres under the whitewater there. But this is what sometimes happens at Little Rincon when the tide goes out a bit. The wave just crumbles down in front of you, and there's really nothing to do. I mean, what can you do? The wave is just whitewater. Very difficult to ride a wave like that.
He picks up the wave way beyond the priority buoy, rides it to the inside, but it's really not a lot to offer, only 12 points. As our 2 men finalists paddle back out into the lineup, let's take a look at highlights of the women's final, which happened earlier. Pauline Menser, 21 years old, out of Bondi, Australia. Met Michelle Donahue out of Byron Bay, Australia, 22 years old, ranked number 8 in the world. Pauline Menser with the red jersey, the 1988 World Amateur Champion, had beautiful surf.
They certainly did. This is an example of how good Little Rincon can get. The Saturday afternoon, the day before the men's final, excellent waves surfing all the way down on the inside. Michelle Donahue snapping on a backhand, but Pauline Menser was the surfer to watch. Really fast, smooth moves, carving down the line, hard slashing cutbacks, great surfing.
At the age of 16, Michelle Donahue was the ASP's Rookie of the Year. That was in 1986. Today, she placed 2nd in the finals.
This is the sort of surfing from Pauline Menser, though, that won the final for a big, flowing re-entry. Excellent turns off the bottom.
Pauline Menser wins her 3rd ASP career victory. She spoke with Ian Cairns afterwards about the thrill of surfing perfect point-break waves.
Well, you know, I come from Bondi, and it's always a beach break. To surf a point break is just, you know, it's a dream for me to even go away from Bondi because I'm stuck there all the time. And yet to be able to surf a heat with perfect waves is just a dream every surfer loves, you know.
Pauline Menser wins the high-scoring duel, 90.8 to 88.3 points. Menser goes from 5th to 1st overall in the ratings. Windy both Elise Anderson and now Pauline Menser, all champions of the women's division here at Bells Beach. And back to the men's final. Current points, Damien Hardman has 53, while Bart Lynch is in the lead with 57.8. Here's Bart Lynch on his 4th wave.
Well, Barton obviously with priority there. Damien Hardman backing off and giving Barton this ride. Barton pushing it hard off the whitewater. Very difficult to score points out here because the waves are so flat and mushy. But Barton Lynch looking very alive and electric, pulling these manoeuvres backwards and forwards. You can see how flat it is. Barton catching an edge there, but now he gets a section and he pumps up the speed using leg strength, turning it backwards and forwards. It's going to be another excellent wave for Barton Lynch.
A great matchup here. Battle of the Aussie Titans. 2 world champions, 87 world champion Damien Hardman, 88 world champion Bart Lynch. Bart Lynch calls it a day. His 4th scoring wave, 14 points.
Well, that's putting the message to Damien. You're going to have to get out there and do something pretty startling to win. Needs an 18.8, and out here in these waves, it's going to be a hard effort.
Time is running out for the 84 Australian Amateur Junior Champion Damien Hardman.
Good surfing, good manoeuvres off the top, but the wave is letting him down. The wave's very flat and mushy. You need to have that open face as this section lifts up. This is a nice little section. Damien able to do another manoeuvre, pulls it out, but I don't know if that's going to be enough.
And that is the end of the heat. Damien Hardman coming in. The Southern Ocean has shaped Victoria's coastline into a world of beauty. Here's a quick look. The awards presentation of the Bells Beach Surfing Classic coming up next. Australia, David Stanfield with Ian Cairns. And Ian, your thoughts on the final?
Well, both surfers, Damien Hardman and Barton Lynch, really making the most of some extremely tough conditions out there in the final.
Despite the waves, the crowd was not disappointed by today's final matchup. Two great Australians. Let's go to the stage for the announcement right now.
To present the 1991 Coca-Cola Rip Curl Classic winner, Barton Lynch.
Barton Lynch, 27 years old, out of Manly, Australia, the 9th-year pro, now with his 15th career victory. And here are the final results. Barton Lynch wins by just 3 points. He's with Ian Cairns right now.
Well, Barton Lynch, Bell's champion. How's it feel, mate?
Oh, mate, it's actually one of the sweetest victories I've ever had. You know, like I was saying, since I was a young kid, I've been coming down here and just wanting to win bells. I'd finished second in the trials and third like 3 or 4 times, and it just feels so fantastic to win the thing, you know. I was reading in the program and looking down the list of all the people who won it and all the champions. I saw MR and Nat Young and Damien and Tom. And before the final, I just thought, I just want to see next year come down here and see my name on that list of people who won it, you know. So it's a great victory.
A great victory indeed, including $25,000 in the bank for Barton Lynch. Barton Lynch, the first Australian to win the Bells Trophy since Damien Hardman did in 1988.
It was excellent surfing like this that gave Barton Lynch the title. Clean carving cutbacks onto the white water, pumping the speed up with his legs, snapping it off the top. Great surfing by Barton Lynch. Damien Hardman was doing fantastic manoeuvres all the way through the contest, but in the final was let down by poor wave selection.
Barton Lynch moves to the top of the ASP leaderboard. We'll see him next at the AAA-rated Coca-Cola Classic just outside of Sydney. Air transportation to Australia provided by Air New Zealand. On behalf of Ian Cairns, I'm David Stanfield. So long from Australia.